So this is the Influential Times. I'm Richard Walton, and today we have Hazel Englander, and Hazel is a classic model, and we're gonna hear more about this crazy industry, right? Because it is a crazy industry. It's not what we see, right? Most of the times. And why don't we start by you telling me a little bit and telling people who are watching a little bit more about how you started, how you got there, what you like about it, and what you don't like about it.
Well, I never wanted to be a model. I was at London University doing English because I wanted to be an English teacher. I love writing. I write now. And after a very intense period of learning Chaucer, Anglo-Saxon, all the Shakespeares, I was on my way to a lecture, QMC, which is Queen Mary College in University of London. It's on the Mile End. And I was spotted by a German photographer, Lawrence Zatterkey, who said, "Oh, you should be a model." And I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, I didn't think about it when I was a child. And most of my friends who've been successful, none of them wanted to be models. They were all just told, "Oh, because of your height and the certain look, we're all the same, you know, build, we're all the same size, we're all the same height." Yeah. So you get picked up for it, really. So I thought, yeah, okay, I'll give that a go.
How old were you?
I was just 18. Just 18.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So you were pretty young.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Just left school.
was that like? So you said you never thought about it as doing that as a profession, right?
No.
So what made you say yes? I'll do it.
Because I never say no to an opportunity.
Right, and you knew
in my life.
You knew it was an opportunity.
It was a great opportunity. I'd come from a very sort of working class northern upbringing. I hadn't travelled much. I think we had a caravan in North Wales for our family holidays. And, you know, I'm studying English. I've done such a lot of reading and literature and studies of characters, you know, Mr. Darcy, you know, all these different people, fantastic literature. And all these characters, but I hadn't lived or been anywhere. So because I wanted to write, I thought, well, this is a great way to meet all these characters, you know, Americans and people from different countries, and you know, so I went to my lecturer, and he was very disappointed and said, you know, you shouldn't do it, and you know, I got really good A levels. I got 2 grade A's and a B at A level, and he was saying, no, come on, you can do this. And it was a really horrible day. It was like, it was all dusty in his office, and it was sunny outside, and I just saw this beam of light with all this dust and this old guy behind a desk, and I thought, no, I'm going to go. I'll give it a go. And I went off and did 3 weeks in California for a catalogue company, which was just like a dream, really.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was after this guy said, you know.
Yeah, he was shooting the catalogue in America, and he thought I'd be the right model for it. So he took me to an agency, and they took me on, and that was my first job. So
and you entered in this industry.
Yeah.
Did you know much about the industry?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. I was so naive, completely naive. I mean, I just didn't know what I was doing at all. Right.
Tell me a little about the experience. So, because when you started your career into the modeling, it must have had an impact as to what you know maybe and what is behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
What we don't know, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. How did that impact you? How did you see the industry after you started?
I found it completely crazy, because we're talking about the 80s, really, 80s, early 90s, and
that's true.
People, you know, it was a very fast. You'd have absolutely loved it.
Is it?
Yeah, because it was fast cars. It was, you know, Margaret Thatcher. All the city boys were making tons of money. There was money everywhere. We had, you know, we were getting paid in those days. We were getting paid like £1,000 a day for 3 weeks at a time, and I was 18. Yeah. So this is like 30 years ago, just a bit more than 30 years ago. So it was a lot of money, you know. So I wasn't interested, funnily enough, in the money. The money was very exciting, but it was more the fact that I was just traveling and meeting all these crazy people. I absolutely loved it. You know, I mean, I didn't like having my picture taken. That was the problem. I didn't like the actual standing in front of the camera and modelling. I found that really difficult at first because you think, what am I doing? You know, but but the lifestyle that went with it, I enjoyed.
You enjoyed the lifestyle. You still do.
I do, but there's been some really dark and down sides of that as well. So it's not, I enjoyed it. I'm talking about as a naive 18-year-old, the travel, this excitement, but obviously you're only as good as your last job. So after that job, it then went really quiet. So I had all this high and then suddenly I had no work. And that's quite normal. You have to go and build up your portfolio. You have to go to Milan. You have to go to all these different countries and you're not getting paid. So then you sort of, there's highs and lows. It's like being out of work, being fantastically paid 1 minute and then nothing the next. But then it does, after about a year, it takes that long, become more regular, you know, the work. But yeah, it was quite difficult as well.
So, okay, so tell me a little bit, because what I'm trying to get out of you is, what is something that most people see from outside that it's not true because you are in there and you know that's not true? What are the misconceptions, so to speak?
I think the misconceptions are that it's all about what you look like.
Right.
And that your life is perfect if you look good and everything's wonderful in your life because you look good. People even think that today, you know, you can't possibly have any depth or intelligence or personality because you look good, so your life's easy, you know? It's like a currency, like other people have money. It's like they say, you know, if you look good, then your life must be, everybody must be nice to you and all the rest of it. And that's not the case. In fact, it's the opposite, really. You get a lot of judgments and a lot of hostility. Oh, yeah, even today, people can't wait to fit the stereotype to you. You know, you must be shallow or not very smart at school or, you know, looking in the mirror all day going, wow, aren't I wonderful? I never look in a mirror, you know, I just don't, unless I'm doing a job. I just can't be bothered. Right. I know what I look like by now. I don't need to look again. Yeah.
So who are these people who are...
I think when you come out of the business a bit, when I first, you know, when you're not in the business, because in the business, I've got some really fantastic friends and they're all obviously models. Not all of them. I've got makeup artists, you know, hairdressers and fantastic stylists, and that's what my podcast is built on. But I guess just socially, you go to a bar or you'll go out, people and they're a bit, you know, you can get rude comments and stuff, or they think you're after their boyfriend or something, you know, and you're not. Or they say something like, "Oh, you're actually really nice. I never thought you were." And I was like, oh, "Okay, thanks." Of
course, because until you know somebody, you can't know if they're not.
I mean, and not everyone's like that, but
of course.
Or they think. I think what I'm trying to say is they presume. I'm talking about when I was much younger, but they presume that you're very vain, or that you've got nothing much going on apart from what you look like. And I think I was very instrumental in the sense I thought, great, I look a certain way, I can travel the world and make money. I wasn't thinking about what I looked like other than as a ticket to something. Rather than just dining out on what I look like, which I think is really boring. You know, I don't, you know what I mean? It was just my passport to this life.
Right, but there's still, in today's day and age, people still judge based on that. I think so. Is there something changed in the industry since the 80s when you started? Yeah,
it's a lot harder now since all the influencers and celebrities have taken all the work, really. So I used to do a lot of hair campaigns. I mean, my hair's like this today because I haven't been near a hairdresser for 3 weeks, but it's normally short. But I have got really good long hair, thick hair if I want to have it like that. And at first I did have that. So people like Weller, Schwarzkopf, all the big hairdressing companies used to use me for all their packaging, their TV stuff. Now they use people like Cheryl Cole. So the models are being pushed out, really. And also they go by how many followers models have got on Instagram. So it's become down to who's technically good. It's like any industry. If you're technical, you can be a photographer, you can be, you know, a musician, and you can also promote yourself much better through social media. So it's no longer about what you look like, it's a bit more how savvy you are on Instagram. and editing and stuff.
Right, they're looking now
Photoshop.
for people who already have an audience.
Yeah.
Right, so for
Yeah.
example, like that lady you said, I
Yes.
bet like if she does for the hair right now,
Yes.
she already has people who could
Exactly.
buy that exact product.
Exactly.
Right, that makes sense, right.
I mean, she's a big celebrity, but even with models, they will look at a model. Say I came along for a job.
Yeah.
Say I was going to advertise that boxing glove, and another girl came along, and we looked identical. Say we were twins,
Yeah.
you know, and she had, you know, 40,000 followers, and I had 600. They would book her, you know. So
Right.
because by the time they put that let's use, boxing glove's a bad example, but you know, glove, whatever. By the time they put that garment on that model, straight away they've got her audience as well.
Yeah,
So
that's
they
true.
will choose the models with the biggest followers, and the models with the biggest followers are the ones who can be bothered to work the whole social media campaign.
Right.
Whereas in my day, it was down to what you looked like and how good you were and whether people liked you as a person, really.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And have you ever tried to get onto the social media ladder, so to speak, to try and catch up with other?
I will do it now.
Right.
Because I've played around with it, and I
It
just
is
don't
important.
have the ego for it. You know, it's like,
Right.
because it's like these pictures of me, I've
Yeah.
got thousands, you know.
Right.
And I think if I was to put that up, I think they're both on my Instagram page. What do I say? You know, oh, nice day or something. I don't know what to say.
Right, no.
I'm not very good at writing the captions, whereas a lot of people do
But then
that.
you can hire a
Yeah,
copywriter,
I'm going to get someone
right?
to do it.
And that would be easier, wouldn't it? Because it is important. Social media,
It's
as
so
you said,
important.
it's important.
I think, to be honest with you, I took a couple of years off to do my writing and write my book. So I didn't want to promote myself just as a model anymore. I wanted to promote myself as a writer. So I took a bit of a backseat. And now I've chosen to do the podcast because it combines writing and the modelling in it.
Right,
It's all very similar.
Yeah.
So now I do need to relaunch myself. And I've got a bit more savvy with it now. I can see a reason to do it now.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was modelling, I was like, you know, I'm not really bothered whether I get the work or not anymore, you know. But now I want to use it, and now I can use it
Right.
more.
Tell me a little bit about your book. You said you wrote the book.
I'm writing a book called The Unlikely Model, which is about my life, and
Sounds interesting.
it shows all the darker side as well of the modelling business.
Right.
So all the real stuff that you were asking me earlier,
Yeah.
things like backstage catwalk
Yeah.
stuff, models taking drugs, stuff that went on in New York, backstage rock and roll parties, because I knew quite a lot of people in the music industry, because the music industry and modelling was always next to each other. So
Is it?
if musicians had, like, you know, if pop stars, whatever, had parties, they used to just phone the model agencies and say, can you get, you know, some models to come to my party, please? Because although they're famous pop stars, they didn't have a lot of friends. I know that sounds crazy.
Yeah, no, but yeah, that's actually
They
true,
they knew each other, and they were travelling a lot. So that whenever we got invited to all the parties, really. So there's quite a lot of story there that I'm going to write about.
Right, so that's about the behind the scenes of the actual.
Yeah.
Are there any? Is there a story that you can tell here that you're going to put in the book?
No, I'm going to save it for my book.
Right. Is there like something you can give us
A
for the
little
people who want to
glimmer.
buy it? Yeah, just something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, the people that we knew were all the sort of Band-Aid lot. So, you know, Queen,
Yeah.
David Bowie, George Michael, all of that crowd were around quite a lot. Duran Duran were around.
Wow.
So they were the ones that were always in London and that we saw a lot of. And so I went to quite a few concerts and, you know, green rooms and things like that. But I don't want to give the wrong impression,
Right. No,
because
of
it
course,
wasn't
yeah.
like, you know...
No, of course,
It was just a normal party. I mean,
Yeah.
even though they were pop stars, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't always crazy.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. But we're gonna see that in the book, right? So in the book,
Yeah,
it's
you're
going to
gonna
be
see
more
it in the book,
detailed, right? Okay. Tell me if, for example, right now there's someone who wants to be a model, right? So a young lady wants to be a model. What's your advice? What do you think about that?
First thing I'd say is, how tall are you and
Right.
how old are you?
Right.
Because straight away that eliminates about 90% of people that apply for modelling, because
Yeah.
it's so strict on the height. It's also with influencers, if they're not the right height, they can go off and smash it on Instagram, be an influencer, so they don't need to be a model really. But if you want to go to traditional modelling, you have to be, 5'10", really, 5'9", 5'10", for a woman, and 6 foot 6'2" for a guy. 5'11" minimum for a guy, 5'11" and a half.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you recommend?
Do I what?
To recommend to someone to enter in the industry?
No.
Is
definitely
it?
not now. I think it's really sad. The models now I've got friends who are still modelling, and it's really tough. People are going direct because they can just get people on Facebook or Instagram, and everyone's sort of an individual island working for themselves, which I think is happening in lots of industries.
Right.
So agencies are struggling. It's the same as any agent, whether you're a travel agent, a model agent, an estate agent, you're the middleman, and people just cut through now. It's like property, people can go straight to.
That's true.
You know what I mean? They don't. Yeah. So it's the same thing, really. Although some of the bigger agencies are still thriving and doing okay. Yeah. But even they are saying
it's not what it was.
No.
Yeah.
But then is anything? Is the music industry what it was? Photography.
Especially now, yeah.
Because we used to get a lot of royalties, money for stuff like commercials, if it was shown in a different country, or if it was shown in Germany or France or even Ireland, I would get money. I'd get a check through the post,
Every time they use that.
Every time they used it, all over the world, wherever they used it. Whereas now, with the internet and everything, you don't get anymore. Well, it's immediate. Well, everyone in the world can see that, so it's not of any value anymore, is it?
Oh, that's true.
So we used to I'd get up in the morning in my dressing gown, I'd have a check for £2,000 and a note saying, oh, your commercial was shown in, Mexico last week. Oh, thanks,
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
So that's
good money.
Ended, is it?
Yeah, it's good.
So you don't get any royalties right now?
You'd get more of a buyout. So when you're quoting for a job, you would say, okay, I need this garment to be shown in, this and this, but it won't be necessarily countries anymore. It'll be something like print and online. So you'll have an online price and a print price. So in other words, if you commissioned a model and you wanted to do a brochure, if it was online, you'd pay one fee, but then if you want to actually print it, you'd pay another. And then if you want to use it for, say, inserts in the Mail on Sunday or press or anything like that, and then there's a social media price as well. So they're the kind of add-ons. But you might say, okay, I'll pay £1,000 for the day or £500 for the day, and then £3,000 buyout will cover all that for a year or 6 months. So that brings the cost right down for the client, because they don't need to pay like they used to pay all these different, categories that added up. I mean, it just added up every time anyone wants to show it anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
They had to pay.
But now with
extra.
the internet, you can see it for free.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, but that's actually a lot of what changed.
Yeah.
And now with the coronavirus and the lockdown, a lot of other things changed, because this industry doesn't work right now, does it?
It's like hospitality doesn't work. No, you can't. I mean, I've got models waiting to go on a shoot now, and they can't do it. They're all just. I mean, QVC, which is the shopping channel. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They were the last to kind of close, and they only closed about a month ago. They were still doing stuff in the studio, but
why would they close? Because it's actually they do it in the studio. And
yeah, exactly. I don't know whether they've closed, but one of my friends, Karen Meyerhoff, might as well mention her. She's a fantastic model, really lovely girl. And she's in there all the time working, and she said, that's closed down now. So I'm taking her word for it. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Maybe it's still going. I don't know.
That's interesting. Yeah, a lot of things closed. But yeah, because everything that has to do with meeting people, it's actually closed. Other than the government decided to say it's essential business, which is the food industry, supermarkets and all this. And them to go on the street and fix things, or the NHS. Yeah. But pretty much, other than that, the construction industry is closed as well.
I see people building though, because I see people on building sites, not building, like a house renovation. Yeah. I've seen like guys coming out at the end of the day. And
do you talk about private?
private houses being developed.
I mean, they let you do your own stuff, let's say, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, if you do your own house, right, you can do.
No, this is professional people coming in. You can see that they're not doing it themselves.
Right.
This is like big houses that
Now,
they've got scaffolding up, and
Right. If they see you, they'll give you a fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If they see you, they'll give you a fine. Even here, so for example, if I have in the office more than, I don't know, 4 people, they said they're going to give me a fine as well. So that's what
you
they
haven't got
said.
anyone hiding under here?
No, I have no one, no.
You can come out now.
But yeah, I mean, they're not joking. And I know people who got fined because of that.
Really?
Yeah, people in the park, they've got fined. People, they've got stopped in the car.
I didn't get stopped coming here, and I was trying to think, is this essential travel?
No,
being on a podcast.
What they said is that if you playing, like if you have music and all that, and you know, windows lowered and you're having fun, that's not kind of essential, you know what I mean? You just
That's what I just did, but luckily it was raining, or I would have got arrested maybe.
Right? No, not really. But they're pretty strict on this kind of things right now.
I think they should be. I mean, look, it's good. You know, I don't want to break the rules. I've been so good up to now, and if I go to the supermarket, I'm washing everything, and I'm taking all the packaging off outside the house and putting it in Tupperwares, and then throwing the packaging away. I don't even bring it in. So I have been, and I respect the rules on this. I think if we want to...
But I do look forward for this to end.
Absolutely, but the more we stay in, the sooner it'll end, if that makes sense. That's a contradiction, but you know what I mean? The more we kind of... that sounds ridiculous, but you know what I'm saying? The more we follow the rules... Absolutely, yeah. The more we can squash it down. Right. But Germany, apparently...
And Sweden, they have they don't care. Sweden, they said they want to get immunization or something like that.
Oh.
So they have pubs open and restaurants open.
Do they?
Yeah.
Gosh, when's the next flight?
I think it's the only country that they do.
I'm getting on a plane. I want to go to the pub. I miss the pub.
I have a friend who works there, and he said everything's open.
I'd love to go to Switzerland, Sweden.
Yeah,
it's one of the best. And I will actually look small when I go there because they're really tall, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never.
I'd be a little shrimp over there.
Right, not really. You know you've got your motorcycle.
Yes.
What are you doing on a motorcycle?
I don't have one currently.
Right. What do you want to do on a motorcycle?
I've always loved motorbikes.
Is it?
I've always loved motorbikes. I passed my motorbike test in the Isle of Man when I was about 20.
Oh, wow.
And that's because I was modelling at the time, and I've been modelling all my life, but particularly, full-on modelling. And I was travelling a lot, and I got exhausted, and I was really tired. And the agency just said, "Oh, go home and rest," one of those kind of you're burnt out things. And my parents had moved to the Isle of Man for a while, and I went there. And no disrespect to anyone that's from the Isle of Man, but it is the most boring place I've ever been in my life. Sorry, everyone. There's nothing to do, or maybe it's just because I was 20. And then the TT arrived. You heard of the TT?
Not really.
Oh, wow, you're missing out. TT.
What's that?
The Isle of Man TT races, it's all the motorbikes, they're probably closed now, but every year, all the motorbikes go and race around the island.
Really?
So I was there, suddenly things looked up, these whole boatloads of motorbikes came flying in, and I was like, wow, this is great. So after it finished, I thought, I'm going to do this, I'm going to pass my test. So my parents were quite cool about it. I got myself a little 250 Honda, and because you didn't have a limit then, it wasn't like now you can learn on a 125 only. And there was a police course. The police were teaching people, because it was the TT, they wanted to teach safety. So this policeman gave me like one-to-one lessons for about, I don't know, however long, and I passed my test in the Isle of Man. I was so happy. So I just bought myself a 650 Kawasaki when I went back to London.
Really?
Yeah. And it was great because riding a bike through London, it's dangerous.
It is.
But you could get everywhere quickly. So
yeah, that's also true.
I was going to lots of different castings, and, the only problem is you get to your casting, you know what that is, like an audition.
Yeah.
And I'd take my helmet off, and I had this like big indentation across here, and I had red eyes and like flies stuck to my face, and I go, hi. So it wasn't probably the best look, But you have a portfolio. You go,
Yeah.
you just put your, you know, they saw all
Yeah.
your pictures. They don't care what you look like really,
Right.
because they can see your pictures. So
Right, because you don't have to go like to makeup and all that when you go
no,
there.
most models go around in jeans and a t-shirt and no
Right.
makeup. Yeah.
So you just go, you just present your...
Well, you've got your portfolio. You've got
Right.
that. So,
And where'd you get that?
but these are all different jobs I've done.
Right, and
Over
that's
the
your
years.
portfolio?
Sorry, yes. Portfolio to a model is like a plumber's toolkit or your studio, your camera kit, whatever. A model's tools are her pictures. So there's no use, you can't be a model without professional pictures, because lots of fantastic looking women do not photograph well. I photograph better than I am, which is great. Some people don't photograph as good as they are, but they tend to go into catwalk. So I'm just lucky, really, because
Right.
the camera's nice to me. And a lot of people, the camera's nice to them. You'd walk past a lot of models in the street and they just look like nothing.
Yeah.
And then you see these books and it's like, wow, these
Wow.
portfolios,
Yeah,
and they are so
absolutely.
wow.
I never understood that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most models are really kind of ordinary in real life. Yeah.
Right, so it's because of the camera?
I think you just there's something about the camera. Well, you've got to have the right look, obviously.
Right.
You've got to look good
Yeah.
in real life. I'm not saying it's going to help everybody,
But it does
but
help
not
some
everybody
people.
who
Right.
looks good can translate that onto
Oh, wow.
the camera.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that in real life.
And it's
I've
really
seen that, yeah.
unfortunate, you know. Some people can, some people can't. It's just, I don't know why.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So where would you go to get so your portfolio is from experience, right? But can you get one specific for things, or you just get whatever you work?
Your portfolio is your shop window, like
Right.
Instagram now,
Yeah.
really. Now, we used to have an actual printed one. People don't really bother with that anymore now. It's just online and it's
Yeah.
just digital. Your portfolio is a collection of your work. So any work that you've done that's any good,
Right.
you put in your portfolio. But I was doing, like most models, out of all my work, say 100% of my work,
Yeah.
you'd only put 5 to 10% in your portfolio, the absolute best. Because
Right.
quite a lot of it you don't like anyway, you know.
So now going back to the question, if a model wanted to start now, let's say they don't care that you said don't go into the industry, and they still want to go.
Yeah.
Where should they start? Should they start with the social media or
No.
no?
No, they shouldn't start with anything. Don't get a professional portfolio made, because that's just people ripping you off. People come to me and say, "Oh, I've had my portfolio done." And I go, "Oh dear, that's a shame." I'm very good friends with Sarah Dukas of Storm. She owns Storm Model Agency. She's given it to her daughter, runs it now. But Sarah and I've been friends for years because she was my booker when I first started out. She was the one that got me Vogue and everything, and she started Storm Models. So I scout for her. So if anyone comes to me and says they want to be a model, if I think they're any good, I send them to Emma, who's on New Faces at Storm, and I just upload some pictures and, you know, send them. And I say to the girl or guy that's starting, that wants to be a model, first of all, their height. Secondly, to send a headshot, which is just, you know, no makeup, just totally to camera, quite serious, and then smile. And then a full length in maybe a gym wear or a bikini. It doesn't have to be a bikini, it doesn't have to be all dolly birdie, but just like gym kit or something, especially for guys. We want to see that they're fit, you know, that they've got, you know, whatever build. Well, guys can either be very fit or they can be very sort of skinny and do high fashion, but that's a different thing. So either one, see where they sit. And then I'll send the pictures over to Storm, and 9 times out of 10 they'll say no. 9 times out of 10 I've already said no, so this is the one person I think Storm might well like. And even then, Storm hardly take anyone, because they are absolutely the best agency, so they're very, very particular. So I start at the top and I work down to other agencies. Right.
So that would be the normal way to enter the industry.
I mean, you can even go on Flare Talent and upload a picture on that. Most of them will have a website that says upload your pictures. You don't have to physically go in. You can just upload pictures. But the biggest tip I would give to anyone starting out is don't try too hard on your pictures. No makeup, no high heels, no posing, no professional pictures, no portfolio. They just want to see you as the girl in the street, jeans and a t-shirt. That's it. Because they will mould you according to their agency. Every agency has a way of developing the product, which is the person. And if you come along all already done and all looking a certain way, they'll just think, no, someone's already done all the work. That's not our look. So always go natural and let them decide. They're not stupid. They don't need to have, you don't have to have makeup on and, try hard look. It's just a bit cringe. So it's really cool to just go looking really street.
I think people think they can trick the agencies.
They can't.
They can't, of course.
What they do is they tell them to go and wash their face and come back.
Really?
If they come into the agency with makeup on, they just go to the ladies, wash all you, and these people are like freaking out because they have to go back in with no makeup on. So it's better to go with no makeup on. And I mean, when I say no makeup, you can put a little bit of something.
Right.
Maybe,
not be like
and maybe a little bit of gloss or something.
Right.
So, but don't overdo it. Don't plaster it on.
Right. So that's how you would start, right?
Yeah. Be cool, be street, be natural.
What does success in this industry mean?
What does success in any industry mean? For me, that's a big question.
What is it for you? What is success
big question,
for Hazel?
actually, because I don't think that success can be measured by material things, and I don't think success can be measured by the level you've achieved in something. Success to me is when you are intrinsically happy in your own skin. And whether you need that to make you happy or that, success is when you're happy. So you could be Richard Branson. I mean, Richard Branson's a great guy. I'm sure I've never met him, but I'm sure he's very happy. But there's lots of people I know with millions of quid who aren't happy.
Right. That's
so,
true.
What makes you happy, it's not always success.
Right. But when you hear the word success, what does it come to your mind?
Well, again, success is a very driven kind of word, isn't it? It's like happiness is an extreme you can come down from. So I think happiness is an extreme. I think contentment is where we should aim to be in life, because when you're content, you don't notice what mood you're in. You're just content.
Absolutely, yeah.
But if you're happy, you've got to sometimes come down. And success is a bit like that as well. So I think it's a big question, really. I mean, success, as I say, it's a movement, isn't it? You're driving towards something all the time. So when do you say I'm now successful? For example, when I did English Vogue, I was the first model in English Vogue for 10 years because they decided that at one point they just thought all English girls were scruffy and lazy and didn't go to the gym and sat around the pub, and they were actually right. I mean, the Americans were ahead of the curve. They did, all this stuff, and we were like, oh God, here they go, But we were professional, but we just weren't over the top anyway. So I got into Vogue, and I was doing all the health and beauty. Sarah got me it, actually, Sarah Dukas. And then everyone was like, wow, phoning me from New York, you're in Vogue, you're amazing, And I just thought, oh, that's funny, isn't it? Because I haven't really changed. And yesterday I couldn't get any work at that point. I was like trying to get into things like Woman and Woman's Own, and they weren't looking twice at me. But suddenly, because I'm in Vogue, oh, now everybody wants me. So, but a month later, I was thinking, but I haven't done Harper's and Queen, and that really bothered me.
Wow.
So I started to not enjoy the success of Vogue because I hadn't done Harper's and Queen. And I never did get to do Harper's and Queen. So does that make me a failure?
Not really, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The way you actually see it.
Yeah.
Right.
So at what point do you say enough is enough?
Right. So have you decided on that point?
I've because my agent was always the hungry one that wanted me to get the work. They did all the hustling and the pushing and the shoving, and I just tended to do whatever they told me to do. So I guess I left it all to them. I didn't make that decision.
Right.
And as it happens, they did a very good job.
Right.
But now it's left to me. I think I need to sort of get on with it a bit more.
Right. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. What are some of the problems or disadvantages or challenges that models face?
Competition, there's just so many, because you might be the pretty girl at university or school. It's like a footballer, you know, they might be the best footballer or tennis player at their school. Then Arsenal takes them on or whatever, and suddenly they're just average. And that's what happens with modelling, you know, you're sort of, I was this 5'10", you know, model and, university girl and looked all right and all the rest of it. And then when I was told I had a chance to be a model, I thought, oh, wow, this is great. And then I walked into a room and there were like 1,000 girls who looked just like me.
Wow.
And they made me, and I thought, oh, she's prettier than me, she's prettier than me, and she's nicer, and her boobs are bigger, and she's thinner than me. And then you start thinking, oh my God, I'm a loser.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? It's like everything's relative. When you're in that league,
yeah,
you know, you've got people all around you that are pushing you in the back for the jobs, you know.
Right, because there are people looking better, and there's.
Well,
there's
yeah, but they might think that of me, you know.
Yeah, of course.
It's just the way it is. But obviously, there's loads of people who are much better models than me. Yeah,
right.
You know.
And then, because in that circle, it's like kind of like a circle where you can actually put yourself down, because some other people looking a little bit better, or maybe not actually looking better, but you find something you can put yourself down.
Your yardstick is you're a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
You know, and then you sort of climb up the ranks and you become a big fish in a small pond. The higher, you know, the more successful you get. But you're very easy. I think the hardest thing is you're very easily replaceable. So one minute everybody loves you and wants you, next minute somebody else comes along and starts stealing your work, and you're just kind of like moved over. You know, that's tough as well. So, but then when that happens, you just go to another country, and then you're the big deal again.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was about to ask you, how would you deal with that as a model?
Well, you can. That happens if you're. I was fortunate enough to be on everything. You know, I was on a lot of magazine covers.
Right.
I was inside the magazines. I was on adverts inside the magazine. I was in editorials. I was in advertorials. On the book stands. I mean, my mum. If it wasn't for my mum, I wouldn't have any of my pictures, because she used to go and buy them all for me. And then side of buses and posters. I did a thing for Marks and Spencer's, and I was all the way down Baker Street in all those windows, you know.
Right.
And then people just get sick of looking at you. You know, you see too much of a certain model. And I wasn't a big name. I wasn't famous or anything, but I did a lot of advertising. So I was on, you know, things that you wouldn't even notice, like junk mail or, you know, catalogues and stuff, not the big, you know, it wasn't the Vogue sort of thing. So you're sort of seen a lot, and then what you do is you just go away, you go to another country and work there for a bit. I used to work in Germany a lot. I loved working in Germany. Really? Really enjoyed working in Germany, yeah, and France and Italy.
What exactly? Is it newspaper? Is it the magazines? Or?
Always magazines and catalogues. I mean, catalogues in Germany paid 300% more than Britain.
Really?
And they used to use me a lot, yeah. So that was good fun. So
Because you have a kind of like a German...
I know. I don't know why they did this, because they have German women have to be the most beautiful. German women and South African women, I think, are two of the best looking women in the world. Right. And I thought, they don't need me really, but they did for some reason just want me to go over and do a lot of work over there. So
they were posting the job in here for women to go and work there.
The German agents, or any agent, New York agents, whoever, used to always come to London and pick out a few people that they wanted to work in their country. So I think,
where do they pick you out?
Probably
is it events
because...
Or
pardon?
Is it events or where,
not
actually?
Events. No, photographic work is all I've ever done.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No, they would come out. The German agents used to come to Britain to get editorial models, because we had the best media magazines.
All right, so they come straight to the agencies.
They go to the agency.
Right, exactly.
You want to say we had the best media magazines? We didn't really. Italy, you know, Italy has the best magazines, but we had a good reputation for, you know, quirky, different looks, individuals. So they used to come and sort of, you know, and I didn't look like this then. I was quite punky. I had sort of wacky hair. I was doing things like the face, and, you know, I wasn't like Mrs. blonde sitting in my miniskirt. I was very, I was quite sort of unconventional, and they liked that. So
right.
Yeah.
What are a couple of magazines you've been into?
Oh golly, what?
Just a couple of them. The more important.
Well, obviously Vogue, and then Woman and Woman's Own I used to love working for, because they used to book me every week virtually, or twice a month or whatever. Woman and Home, Prima magazine. Oh golly, I did a lot of the high street stores as well. So Debenhams, Marks and Spencers, all of that stuff as well. Campaigns for those. Most high street stores I've done. Some of them I can't even remember. Living, I don't even know if it's going anymore. I can't remember some of them.
Yeah, some of them must have been closed.
Some of them have.
Right. So, would you say you've accomplished what you wanted to? Would you say you've arrived to the place you wanted to, or there's enough place for actually growing more?
I'm very. Getting back to the magazine thing, I did stuff in Germany and Paris, and other ones like Bunte and Brigitte and Bella and Naya Moda was the catalogue. I can't remember names now. I did a really lovely Glamour Paris magazine called Glamour. So I did lots of editorial in other countries as well, but I can't always remember their name. Sorry, what was your question? The last one.
Would you say that you arrived to where you wanted? I
have actually.
Yeah.
You've arrived when you start saying no to things.
Right.
Because it doesn't excite me anymore. I quit modelling because I wanted to do the writing, and I thought, modelling was just going on and on and on forever, because it used to be age related, and then they suddenly realised that, they could use older models, classic models. Yeah. So there became this big boom of classic models. Just as I thought I was going to give up, they suddenly decided we were all back in fashion. And so that went on. And I've got models I know who are 70, 80 working, and I'm thinking, no, I don't want to do that. It's not my life. My gap year's been long enough. So there's so much I want to do in life. I want to finish my book. I want to do the podcasting. I want to travel. I want to get another motorbike. There's so much I want to do. Right. I can't just keep doing the same thing. It was a great life, and I've still got my foot in it if I want it, but been there, done it, got the T-shirt,
Right, absolutely. Yeah. But it's good you see it like that, and you see it as a success,
yeah.
and you don't actually say, oh, I should have done something else.
No.
Right.
No, never.
What are your plans for the next 5 years?
God, I know not to make any plans.
I
never make plans.
You never make plans? Really?
No.
So you don't set goals?
No.
Oh, wow.
I'm really quite laid back. Life just, I tell you what it is, and a lot of models feel like this, a lot of ex-models, models, whatever. Life just comes at you and you deal with it, because you're never in control of your own life.
Right.
So you can't you get used to not making plans, because I'd make a plan. I used to live in Belsize Park, and I was having a little dinner party on a Friday night once, and I got a phone call from my agency at 5 saying I had to go to America that night at 9, get a plane at 9 o'clock and go, somebody had booked me in New York. And I had all the food, and I was like standing there in my dressing gown with my rubber gloves on, and I was like, what do I do? So sure enough, off I go. So that's just one extreme example, but whatever, you can't plan anything, because your agents are all doing it for you. So you get very used to just, enjoying a couple of days of not doing much because you don't know what's going to happen. Then suddenly the phone will ring and off you go, So you're always on standby, really. Right. And if you do plan something, you'll be guaranteed that's the week you'll get a really great job for loads of money. You think, did I really need to go on holiday, So that gets cancelled. And so you just live by the... maybe I'll have to change that attitude now. Right. Now I'm in charge.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Tell me, what do you think about... Because this industry promotes perfectness and money and chasing the dream and chasing the speed and all that. How do you see this?
There's been massive changes. It doesn't really do that anymore. I mean, we've got a lot of plus size girls, curve, they call them curve models. I do think that modelling generally sells an aspirational lifestyle. Because that's how it should be. We want people to buy the product, so it should be aspirational. So you want the glamorous couple standing with their fabulous, whatever, Ferrero Rocher or something. I mean, I did Ferrero Rocher now. Just remembered I did that. So I was all dressed up and glamorous and having these chocolates, you know, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's quite, they do sell a lifestyle, and fitness is a big thing, selling that lifestyle. But I think it has become more appealing to a bigger audience now, and it's not as, they're not really promoting perfection anymore. In fact, the opposite goes. I think it's gone really extreme, the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're really going out of their way to get away from that cliche.
Right.
For the masses anyway.
Right.
There's still that niche little market somewhere that's very glamorous, but on the whole, I mean, if you look at TV advertising in Britain now, a lot of it is very amateurish. It's like handheld cameras, you know, family in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's all very, very mediocre. Whereas we used to have very glamorous, fast cars and, you know, great ads and really good cinematic effects and, you know, amazing commercials. You know, now it's all a bit low budget, and I don't think the public really appreciate that. You know, they haven't seen the ones that went before.
Right.
The greats, the really good photographers, and you know, the Eric Bowmans and.
What is the mindset behind a successful model? Let's say. What do they think, or what do they think about themselves, or what do they generally? What is the general mindset behind a successful model?
I think to be honest with you, and I would include myself in this. We are very resilient.
Right.
Resilient and determined, and nothing stops you from doing what you're meant to do. So if my agency piled the pressure on, I had to go here, go there, and I was stressed out, I would do it. I was never late. I was on time. I did everything I was supposed to do. If I got a knock, I'd pick myself up and get going again. You know, I think it's just complete and utter self-belief and determination.
Right.
Because you get knocked over, you get negative comments, you get people telling you you look terrible, or you don't look right, or we don't want you, or you're not right for, you know, you just have to stay focused and think, okay, you might not want me, but tomorrow somebody will, so I'm not going to change. This is who I am, take it or leave it. Right. Because tomorrow I'll be what they want, and today I'm not what they want. So it's just self-belief, determination, and tenacity.
Right.
Energy, huge amounts of it, and healthiness. I never, you know, you can't be sitting around drinking and smoking, and, you know, I was always fit, got my 8 hours sleep, looked after myself, really healthy diet, you know.
Is that the norm?
It wasn't then, but it is very much the norm now. It wasn't then. I was probably ahead of the curve, but I was doing a lot of fitness jobs and sportswear and stuff, you know.
Right. Because there are these documentaries and things about models not eating at all.
Oh, anorexia and all that, yeah.
Is that true? Is that part of the...
it was true, yeah. I think the dancers, we used to meet a lot of the dancers, you know, Covent Garden, Pineapple Studios. I'd be down there sort of working out, in fact doing shoots down there. They used to use the big studios for photographic shoots for magazines quite often. And a lot of the dancers who do catwalk stuff, because they, you know, like Clothes Show Live, they use fantastic dancers now and they're all fit. But I know back in the day, some of my friends were dancers. They'd be in the West End shows. They'd be doing, you know, parallel worlds to modelling. And they had a lot of eating disorders. They had to be really skinny. And models too, yeah. But I think that goes on for sure. I think it's more prevalent now, but not in our industry. I think it's just sadly prevalent in society. But that pressure hasn't come from our industry. It's come from celebrity and it's come from Instagram, I think.
Right. It's not from the modelling industry.
I don't think we can take the blame for that. I think, yes, it was a very anorexic look in the 80s. And whether you're a model or not, there's women now knocking around of my age who are just ridiculously thin and it doesn't look good. But no, I think there was a lot of, there were people with eating disorders, you know, and drugs and, you know.
Right.
That sort of thing, yeah.
And with that, because it's like, is it health number one priority in this industry. It's
no,
not.
it's what you look like.
Right.
So people would go on the most bizarre. I mean, some people just chain smoke to stay skinny. They
Really?
literally just chain smoke. I'd be in a studio all day with them and they wouldn't eat, you know. They'd just smoke because it keeps you thin. So, no, I mean, I've always been very health conscious and I also like my food. But I've had to, because I've got a good appetite, I've had to work out the maximum I can eat with the least calories and fat, because I do like to eat, but I can't afford to get fat. So I've worked that out quite well over the years.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting because you're talking about being healthy, but most of the models, they're not, their priority is not being healthy, right? It's chasing that.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I don't know what it's like today so much, but yeah, I think a lot of them get away with murder. You know, they don't work out and they don't look, you know, the part. But it depends what their market is. Because at the moment, there's this very grungy street kind of look. Like ASOS use it a lot, and they'll use people from Camden Market just walking around. They'll say, oh, you can be the next model, you know.
Wow.
So it's not always a conventional healthy look. But then paradoxically, you've got a really big sports trend going on at the moment where people are mega healthy, like Joe Wicks, you know, that kind of male model look. You know, he's a chef, but, you know, a cook rather.
Yeah, yeah.
But that kind of look as well. So you've got both going on. You've got the high fashion kind of grungy Camden look, and then you've got the real fitness look.
Right. Is there something you fear other than God, let's say?
Anything I fear in my life?
Mm-hmm.
Health. I like to be healthy. I would fear getting ill, you know.
Right.
Plane crashes. I don't like flying.
Right. So that's why you take care of your health then.
Yeah.
Right.
And also being a mum, you know, I'm responsible for my kids, so I want to be around for them. It's not that I care about dying so much, it's just I'd like to see them settled and sorted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'd still like to stick around if that's...
Oh, yeah,
I don't want to just die then.
Of course,
but,
yeah. Of course. I know you cook.
Yeah, I love cooking, yeah.
Tell me about that. Where did that come from? Or
again, because I've always had a good appetite, and I am naturally slim to a point, but any of us can get fat, you know, it's easy to do. There's no magic one for anyone. So I had to kind of work out a way of eating well, nutrition that wasn't going to pile the weight on. So you get all the tricks and things like making big bowls of popcorn and things like that instead of crisps. But I learned to cook, and it became, whichever way you look at it, whether it's for health or anything, it always boils down to the same thing. Lots of veg, lots of salad, lots of fruit, whatever. Well, not necessarily fruit's got lots of sugar in, but... so I got very creative with it, and also all the travelling, all the places I've been, I just picked up all the recipes and just couldn't wait to go home and experiment. So yeah, I'll make anything. I'll make anything.
Do you cook every day?
Every day, and I make it from scratch myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, even now I'm thinking, what's for dinner? You know.
Oh wow! So like, how do you decide what you cook? Or
what I cook? I love those Saturday morning programs, James Martin, all the cookery ones. And I just get my ideas, but sometimes I just make it up as I go along, really.
Right.
You know? I don't like English food. I don't like stodgy. I'm not saying all English. I love a roast dinner. I can make a great roast dinner. I make a good gravy, and I put port in it or red wine, and that makes it nice. But I do quite like chili and garlic and lemongrass and all the Thai flavours. So I like taste in my food. So I wouldn't just eat like a load of cream or a load of stodge or, you know.
Right.
I don't like, my idea of hell would be bland, tasteless food that's high in calories, yeah. That would be my idea of hell.
Oh, really?
I'm the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, I like food to taste. I like
tang. It's got to be tasty.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Big stir fries with gambas and loads of herbs and parsley and lemon and, yeah.
That sounds
coriander, and I love sage goes beautifully with chicken. When you fry the little leaves, it's beautiful.
Right, I'm hungry.
Chili, and I make my own curry paste in a pestle and mortar. I go and get the proper Indian spices and pop open the cardamom pods. I don't buy curry paste. I make it all and pop it in the pan and then grind it in a pestle and mortar. And I've got all the right oils and truffle oil. I love truffle oil. I get the proper truffle oil. Not the olive oil infused one, but the proper one. I bring it back from Italy, the little truffles, and yeah, I just make everything, pasta, everything. I love it.
Oh wow! So you're actually like a real chef.
No, no, I'm not a chef.
No,
I'm
but you actually,
self-taught,
like,
enthusiastic.
Right, but you actually cook a lot.
Every day,
Wow.
I've always cooked a lot. My kids
Oh,
have
wow.
grown up eating the most bizarre food. I mean, my son was in his high chair and I'd give him a load of raw spinach and he'd just eat it, you know. It's just like they never got normal food. They used to have, obviously, the fish fingers and stuff, but because I was eating something else, I used to make them try a bit of mine. And before you knew it, they were eating all sorts of crazy stuff. King prawns and things when they were like 4.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. And biltong, because their dad's South African. They used to love this biltong. Do you know biltong?
Yeah, they do. They do it for like sports. They actually do like small packets.
Yeah, it's like a dried kind of boerewors. It's like a sausage and you dry it, and beef really that you string up and dry for weeks on end.
Yeah, but that has a lot of protein.
Yeah, my kids used to love that. They wouldn't eat it now because they're both virtually vegan, but they did eat it. Really? Yeah. Well, they're not vegan.
But you're not vegan though.
No, gosh, no.
Okay. You can't live on vegan, can you?
I eat mainly plant-based, but I love everything. So I'll throw in whatever's going at the time, you know. And I also, because I've travelled a lot, I will always eat what anyone gives me, because sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. Could be in anywhere. I mean, Slovakia, Slovenia, I had breakfast with Eskimos and different countries, and you get different food and you just have to eat it, you know. So I've got very good at eating things that just to try, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I love Japanese. I can talk food all day.
Is it?
I love Japanese. Wasabi I've got in the fridge. I've got all loads of stuff. Yeah.
So you kind of tried every single country's
every
style
country,
of cooking, is it?
Yeah.
Right. Which one is which one is your preferred? Your
Thai.
favorite?
I love Thai.
Really?
Chinese I'm not as keen on because I don't like the salt element that they put. Sometimes in certain restaurants, the monosodium glutamate or the salt, they can overdo it. So I always ask if they're going to put that in, ask them not to. But Thai food is just gorgeous, or Japanese tempura vegetables. Again, it's all the healthy stuff, you see.
Yeah.
I probably gravitated towards it because you get to know what is the maximum you can eat that's not going to make you put on weight.
Yeah.
And those countries are very good at it. You know, the edamame beans and all of that.
They are very good at it, yeah.
Yeah, they're very good at it. And I love sashimi. And there's a lovely little Japanese on the Finchley Road, actually. I've forgotten what it's called now. Like a little calf on the corner, forgotten. It's very unglamorous, and the food is amazing in there. I'll remember it in a minute. Toto or something, I can't remember. Yeah.
So for example, when you don't feel like cooking, you go out and eat out.
Yeah, I eat out as well, yeah.
Right.
Eating
you
out.
Don't just cook.
Eating and drinking are my hobbies, really.
Oh, okay, cool. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, and driving, but not at the same time.
Right. Well, that would be something to eat, drink, and
I just think who doesn't like eating and drinking?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
But we all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah. Do you?
Do you have a podcast?
Do you cook?
No, I don't cook. No.
Oh.
I like to eat, not to cook.
Okay. What's your favourite food?
I like Thai as well.
Thai.
I like Chinese.
Yeah.
What else? Well, I like pretty much everything other than Indian. So.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Indian. I just don't like that.
Too tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get a korma.
They use some. Exactly. I don't like that. You know, the
korma is the one. That's not actually Indian. You know, they anglicised that for the British palate because it's got loads of cream in. That's not how the real Indian cuisine is.
Really?
No, they have much drier, healthier Indian. They pour all that cream on for the Brits. Yeah. Korma.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No, I don't like korma.
I think that put me off with. I don't know what
I've
tasted.
Fair enough. You don't have to like everything.
I don't like it.
I love
but
Indian.
other than that, I just love everything. You know. But
I do.
Mostly, I mean, I like meat, right? So I'm not a vegetarian.
Do you like gauchos?
Oh yeah, of course.
Gauchos is fabulous, isn't it? A nice glass of Malbec or something. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cool. I know you've launched a podcast.
I have.
I
should do a cooking one, shouldn't I?
You actually should do.
I should do a cooking one. Yeah. Well, I can add cooking to it. Well, yeah. I've launched What the 50 because when I hit 50, I thought, oh, it's so old. It sounds so old, and then I realised it's actually not. So I've called it What the 50 because I've got so many women I know and men, great women in their 50s who are still looking fabulous and still working and still relevant to society, and they're not all models, but they've all got a story and they've all got inspiration stories. And I'm so sick of negativity about age. there's such ageism. Everyone talks about, you know, sexism, racism, but what about ageism, you know? It's like this, oh, move over, darling, you're old now. It's like, no, I'm not, here I am.
Right, absolutely.
And it's not about what you look like. It doesn't matter what shape or size you are. If you've got a positive attitude to life and you don't intend to roll over and disappear anytime soon, celebrate it. Come on my podcast.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't want anything negative on there. It's all escapist, fun, upbeat stuff.
Absolutely. Where can people find that?
What the 50 is on iTunes.
Right.
And it's on Spotify. And it's on Anchor, yeah.
Oh, right, cool. So you've got it up there.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, do you have a website?
Only my model agency, which is Now Models,
right.
But I'm going to build a website.
Right.
Yeah. I built that one, but I'll need to. In fact, I'll get them to do me one as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
2 more questions.
I think out loud all the time, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah. Is
right.
it?
2 more questions before we end. So, if it was possible for you to give a call back to the 18-year-old Hazel, what advice would you give her?
Don't worry about what people think of you. Because you can run around people-pleasing and make some bad choices in life. I think just don't worry about, be a nice person, be moral, be decent. When I say don't worry about what people think of you, hold your head up and be decent. But after that, that's all you can do. If they want to have a pop at you or be bitchy or this and that, don't worry about it.
Right. And
be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Don't act or be anything you're not. Just be your authentic self.
That's really good advice. And one last one. What would you say to people who are going through really hard times right now due to the coronavirus and things, and they can't see a way out? What would you say to them?
It will all end. It will all end. And give in to your moods if you feel sad or depressed or frightened, you know. Have a duvet day. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't think, beat yourself up and think, I should be doing this or I should be doing, you know, it's, I think, feel your emotions. So I lost my dad a month ago and I was broken-hearted and cried all the time, you know, and I feel better for crying. And I think we live in a world where, with coronavirus and everything, people are feeling real anxiety and upset and worries. I think understand it will pass, but also allow your body to express your emotions, because if you don't, you can get ill. I really believe in expressing yourself, because repressing it is a health hazard. So, and also we live in a society where everybody pops a pill if they feel depressed, or they take this or they do that. You know, no, we don't have to sort of euthanize ourselves all the time. You know, we need to feel our feelings and know that it will end. So be positive, I guess. But go on, if they need antidepressants, go on them, see a doctor. But I think a lot of it is knowing that this terrible phase will pass. But people are genuinely really suffering. I just don't have an answer for it, really.
Absolutely.
I just like to think the sun will shine one day and we'll all be out in the parks and life will go on, and maybe I always try and find a silver lining. We'll find that people's inner good nature comes out. We've already seen it in society.
Absolutely.
We've seen Captain Tom walk his 100th birthday today. You must celebrate that. Wow. And you've got a choice in life. You can either be positive or negative. That's your choice on a daily basis, whatever your circumstances.
Absolutely. We're going to end it on that. Hazel, thank you very much for coming
here.
Thank
you. What fun, Richard.
It was fun. Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. And please subscribe or give us a like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.